Aloha Amazon Live viewers, thank you for joining me. It is Thursday, it is 1 o'clock in Hawaii, and I thank you so much for joining me on my Amazon Live show. This video is about the supplies that I use and talk about in my free masterclass called Cobbling Masterclass at Home, and this is specifically about saddles. It's a 14-part series. This is number 12, I think. But I do a lot of saddles, as you can see here, even though I am a shoe store. So we're going to just go down through the list. If you are just in a hurry and want to get the information, this is about cleaning, conditioning, dyeing, and patching saddles. So if you're on Amazon Live, please be sure to sign in. Let me know that you're following, from where you're following. And if you're watching this on the YouTube replay, I'll have a description of the products in a list of all the products in the description below. And please subscribe, please comment, let me know what things you want to hear. But I say let's get going, okay? So this is the Cobbler Masterclass Saddle Repair. And in that class is a full detail of how to do everything. I'm not doing an instructional today. This is just about the supplies. So the easiest way to reach that free masterclass is to go to my website, teriedmonds.com. And in the supplies, I'll have most of these are listed under leather crafting. And you want to be sure to really click on the link. It'll take you directly to the product. And then it'll click, you'll see here, we'll click through one more time. And this is for those who aren't that familiar with Amazon Live. And I do get questions about it. So there you'd find your product. It's pretty self-explanatory, except for when it comes to things like making sure you have the right size selected, the right color, things like that. For instance, one of the products we're talking about today is leather, and there are different thicknesses of leather. So it's really important to take a look at that, and I'll go over the thicknesses for you here for these different jobs. All right. So something else that is very cool that I don't know if everybody's aware of, but Amazon has a program called Amazon Explore. And I've picked one for you here, because this is about saddles and equestrian wear. I've picked one. It's basically, you can click on a link and you can pay someone to give you a virtual tour, a virtual class. There's all kinds of things. Just go to Amazon Explore and see the list. They're really good about telling you how it works. So I've included the secrets of Argentinian polo. And this guy teaches a class for $55, and you can schedule the day that you want to go. You can book your session. They talk about the experience, what you can expect. You can also do shopping online. You can purchase things virtually, you can take photos, and you can speak with the professionals. So all kinds of good things out there. I just plugged in horses, and that came up with that really cool class. So feel free to dive into that and check out Amazon Explore. All right, so let's see here. Okay, so some of the basic tools. In the Cobbler Masterclass, I do show you my basic tools that I use. And this is pretty much everything here for the saddle making. This little package here is not available online, but I found you something better, okay? And that would be this wonderful package. It is about $100, and it covers absolutely everything except for the glue that you would need to do any of these projects that you're going to see today. Hole punches, leather skivers, a nice mat. You'd like to have a nice mat to work with. Also some like I said, hole punches, leather stamps, different types of hole punches. I am using a different type of a hole punch here today, but we'll talk about that a little bit more. I like using gloves to protect, especially if you're going to be dyeing and things like that. You can stain your hands. And then they come with a bunch of snaps and grommets. I mean, it's so awesome. It's a great, great deal for $100. They have other ones like this. I mean, you can get the theme, it could be a pink theme, but they're great for gift giving, or it's really great to start your own shop. So there we have that, and let's start with what my first steps are in preparing saddles. So all of these saddles are in my shop if the shoe fits in Maui, Hawaii for repair. We actually have quite the horse crowd here that love to play polo. We have Western riders out here, rodeo, things like that. Things get dry and old and cracked, and so the first thing that I'm going to do to every single one of these items is I'm going to clean it first. And I love this cleaner. It's called the Lincoln Easy Suede Cleaner. It's meant for fabric, suede, leather, you name it. It does not damage things. I've tried it on just about everything and I've not had any problems with it. If you have a tack room, you know, you might want to buy the gallon version. In the Amazon shopping cart, it's the 8-ounce bottle, and that's what I also sell in my store in case you are watching from Maui and you want to stop in and pick some up. But I would recommend go with a nice gallon and kind of clean everything. And so I use that, plus I have a little handy Tupperware, old Tupperware dish, and you have to shake it to get the little crystals from the bottom. That's the active ingredient. I just pour it into a dish, and I take my nylon hairbrush. It's like a nail brush, horsehair brush. This is a nylon brush. And you would put it in your product, and you would scrub it. Well, actually, let's just do it real quick. And we have enough time, but we have a lot to cover today. So I'm just going to show you how this suds up because it's actually very helpful. I put a link to these gloves on the shopping cart as well. So I just put a little bit in here, and I take my brush, and I'm going to start in just an obvious spot here. Let's just do the top. And you want to get a nice lather. It's the lather that actually pulls out. It's these little crystals go into the material, and then they kind of lift the dirt and mold spores, things like that, to the surface, and then you take an old towel and just wipe it off. And I'm going to do this to the entire saddle, including the underside. Okay, so that's great. And I'm also going to use it on things like this gal, or this project is the bridle, the belt. I've got some really cool stuff from them, and we'll go over this in the next second here, but clean the whole thing, even around the little brass pieces here, you know, clean it all. It won't damage a single thing. So what a deal. I've definitely included in your barn if you've got one, and especially with winter coming up, it's so great to take that time and prep everything, right? While you've got the snow and stuff like that, for those of you that are back east watching this. Okay, so let's do the next step, which is boot and shoe care leather lotion. This stuff is the bomb, and here's mine. And I use this all the time. The price is going up, so if you can still score a good price, this one's offered at $8.39, but the brand has raised their prices, so don't be surprised if it's more expensive than that. Anyway, this is super great product, and this works on all smooth grain leathers. You don't want to put it on suede, okay? It will ruin the suede. But the cleaner you can put on suede. So it's so easy, it's self-explanatory. You just put it on the leather and rub it in. And really get in there and put it on the threads even, because the threads get dry and they break. And once those are broken, it's kind of hard to pat. Like some areas somebody can get in there with a stitcher. But for instance, with the leather lotion, I get a lot of this. Dry saddle, cracked seats, especially here. As a matter of fact, this one is a great example. So this one is a pretty old saddle, and look, it's cracked here, it's totally cracked here on the sides, and it has a foam on the inside, which I'll address in a minute. But for now, I would start this. I would still clean it, and then I would probably put 2 or 3 coats of the Cadillac leather lotion if you've got a lot of drying, okay? Just coat everything a few times, you'll be able to tell. For another example is this here. So this is pretty roughed out, and when you have leathers, including on shoes, that have their really dry and rough, you want to put a couple of coats on before you do your dye or your polish, because a rough material like this next to the smooth, if you put on a polish directly, it could have a funny look to it. So you get a much truer color when you put the conditioner on first. Plus, you just want to save your product, right? I mean, these saddles are awesome. This lady has a stable up country. She has a lot of kids that come up, and so she's really a great supporter of our shop. I love to help her because she's doing great things. All right, so there we go. And like I said, every single thing's gonna get that. This was a really interesting one. I'm gonna show you here. It is, let's see where I put this bridle. It's right here. Okay, so I'm just cleaning and conditioning these. His wife, the gentleman that brought this in, his wife is assisting a sick family member on the mainland, so he wants to spoil her when she comes back and see all of her gear in really great shape. Where did I put that? I want to show you guys this one. This one's all right. It's actually this guy here. So this one has, I'm going to see if I can get in kind of close. It's got cracking on the top here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to condition this probably 2 or 3 times. And then I'm going to come through with my glue gun, and I put a link to the glue in the shopping carousel. But I'm going to put glue inside all of these little spots, these cracks. And then I'm going to go ahead and probably hammer them together just to, once they dry, it's a contact cement. So I'll hammer them together to really get them to lie more flush. And then I don't think I'm going to dye it, but I'll definitely put another coat of condition on it. We'll see how that turns out as I work on it. Okay, so that's the easy stuff. You can do all of your gear. Of course not, you don't want to put the fabric with the conditioner. But you can take care of what you got in your horse stall and horse barn. All right, so the real big work that I'm doing here is going to be patching. And this is where it gets a little tricky with the leather, okay? So this is I'm gonna call this a 5 ounce. It's pretty thick. I use this leather here to repair the billets, like this gentleman here. Actually, I'm going to show you here. But I also make my belts out of them. I'm wearing a belt that I made out of it, and I painted this belt white and put on my own little buckle. I have one of the cobbler master classes is about how to make belts. But this is a really nice thick leather, and I'm using this for those horse people that know what I'm talking about, billets. So this is where your buckles are coming in to attach the belt harness to it. And I remove this, put a new piece, and I use that thick leather so that it can really hold. This is the one I'm going to be working on doing that, and it's a polo saddle. So I really want to make sure that it's held on really well, so I use the thick leather, okay? But then we go into the thinner leather. So this is this incredible rip, just like this saddle I showed you here, where it has the ripping along the sides here in the seat. And I like to use the thin leather because it bends a little bit. Even the shape is kind of funny, so you want to get it wet, you want to measure your size, get the leather wet, really bend it and stretch it and make it more malleable. And this is the 1 to 2 ounce leather that I use for that. It's very, very floppy, right? So it's great for patching. A big hide like this is so affordable, it's ridiculous. So you can get a hide of each for a really great price. All right, but you want to be careful when you're looking online with the leather. So anyway, this one was a finish, but this is what it looked like beforehand. Had a huge mark in it. Here is, actually this was a different one. This is the original before I repaired it, and here is the after. So this was a pretty big spot, this was a big spot, and we're doing patches on it. So I buy that thin leather and then I skive it. And skiving means to make it really thin on the edges so that it lies nicely, because you don't want the rider to, as they're riding the horse, to rub those edges up off of the saddle. And again, I go into this in detail in the Cobbler Masterclass. Skiving knife. This comes in that tool package that I'm suggesting for those of you out there. It's my skiving knife, and they come with replaceable blades, and they're really great. I use my little marble table here, and I'm sure that one comes with the cutting board as well. But this is what I use, and it makes it nice and smooth. I'll sand the saddle and then glue it down so it stays. Got dirty. All right. So here's another, this is the after, of course, on that. And here we are with another, this one was super heavy duty. Okay, I mean, there are major missing pieces of foam in there, so that had to be built up. In the shopping carousel, I have included that for you guys. I've done the research for you. This is the foam. And so I go in and fill in that foam before I even do my leather patching on it. I think I have an after on it. So that's the before. Needs a lot of love. And here is the after. And this will also be in my gallery on my website, teriedmonds.com. I have a nice gallery of all the saddles and boots, equestrian wear that I do. So you can see the before and afters, and you can see what inspires you. All right, so the other thing is things like restoring parts like this. These special rivets are awesome for hardware. Like this was a chest plate that I restored, the original, put on the new one. I dyed this. It was cleaned, conditioned, dyed, and then I put the rivets in. So beautiful, really great, fun project. This is the foam that I'm talking about. This is a 1/4 inch, okay? And they offer so many different sizes. So this is, again, that time that you want to be careful when you're clicking on it to make sure that you get the size that you need, okay? Great foam, and as you can see, I mean, I have so much left. This thing hardly cost me anything, and it won't deteriorate too fast, so I'll be able to use it for a while. All right, here is the leather link. And again, you want to be careful to make sure that you choose the size. They have, let's say, 4 by 6, 4 to 6 square foot, 6 to 8. You can do a foot by 3 feet. There's all kinds of different dimensions. So make sure that you double check what you're ordering before you order it. And also, this is the vegetable tan 4 to 5 ounce. And when they say ounces, they mean thickness. So that real thick one that I use for my belt is what that is right there. And then the 1 to 2 ounces is what you want for the patching material. And they all come this color. So I have to dye them before, as part of the process. I don't get this shipped in a color. It comes in this nude color, and I fix it myself. I get exactly what I'm looking for. One of the things that I think is a must-have if you've got an art studio, a workshop, it is a pair of these awesome scissors. They are craft tool scissors, and they are great. They cut for years and years and years. I have had them in my classes that I teach, and I'm still using the exact same pair, and I haven't had them sharpened yet. So for $40, they're offering it for $40. Prices change, you know, with Amazon, but they're all relatively reasonable. Okay, so one of the other things that's not included in that tool shop kit is glue. And I will use a contact cement. I am a shoe cobbler, so I use an industry grade contact cement, and it's called Masters. And so they do offer it on Amazon, which is really cool. You can't get it shipped to you in the islands in case you're watching from Maui, but I do carry it in my store. So if you want to pick up some really good stuff, you can always drop by my store if the shoe fits and pick up a can. 2 sizes I offer: a small one that does about 1 pair of shoes, and the large one if you're going to do a big project. Just buy the large. It has a brush in the lid, and it stays pretty well. Lasts a decent amount of time. All right, so now moving on. So I would have cut my pattern with this leather, right? I would have gotten it wet, I would have manipulated it and gotten it nice and smooth so that I can bend it to fit this seat. And I would mark my saddle, let's say the saddle with a pen where that edge is. I'd come in with some sanding paper and rough up the spots that are going to be touching each other, because it gives teeth to the surfaces so that that glue can really hold. And you want that on the saddle, like I said, when you're moving your legs around on here, keeps it from rolling. So cut that. But before I put the glue on, okay, I would sand it, and then I would actually dye the leather first, because if you have this kind of leather and you put a little bit of glue gets on there, then when you go to apply the dye won't soak in that area. It's just a spot that won't accept color. So you really want to dye this beforehand. And I think in this one I would do like a basic brown. This is pretty much brown, and I would do the light brown wax on it, which we'll cover in a minute. But first, let's go to the dye. So I use Angelus. Most of you that follow know that I love Angelus. Best product out there right now as far as I'm concerned. And it doesn't smell too much, and it's easy to work with. So I suggest it in the 3-ounce bottle, which is what I use. I take a jar. I like to pour mine into the jar so I have a real steady container. And then, and just to show you just an example, so this was the before on a saddle, and here is the after. So it really took the color well. It's, you know, beautiful. I clean it up with a little bit of the conditioner afterward, after I've dyed it. So it takes some of that residue off, which is really nice. Beautiful saddle, so that was fun. These are the paintbrushes that I use. I use them so often. I actually need to order more. I use them for every project. I have one dedicated for each color of dye. That way, and then I put a little post-it around it and name what color that was, so you can just keep reusing it. It's much easier that way, and you don't mix colors. So I love these brushes, and they're so affordable. This 2-pack they were offering for $7. They hold up really well. Just keep them, you know, clean them when you're done, except for with the dye. I don't clean them after I've used them on dye. That's why I designate a little tag on it that says this was the black or this was the navy, and then I can just reuse it again. So that's great. All right, so now this is the final step. It's this easy. It's the same steps for boots, shoes, saddles, whatever. And I'd like to finish off my renovations with a polish. And I've just buffed the heck out of it. You really want to get the residue off so it doesn't come off on your riding pants. So I'll come through with a, like I said, this one I'll do a brown cream polish, and the cream polish is a, it's like a moisturizer with a tint, okay? It doesn't give you as much shine, but it does put color into the product and it nourishes it. So we want that because this is so dry. I'm trying to build up those layers of moisture in here. So then when I'm done with that, I will put on the wax polish, and I'm using these brushes to do all of these treatments. And this has got a pack of them for you. I like having my darker colors separated from the white colors because you know what, once you get a polish on it, you don't want to mix that brush with another project that you're working on because it still has residue from the original color. So to keep your colors true, have a designated set of brushes. Okay, can't beat that. I don't see a price on this, but there's a ton of them out there. The Taco brand, Tacco, is what I use. Let's see if I have one. Anyway, they're great brushes, really good company. We're so lucky that everybody's still producing this stuff right now. So that's great. So there you have it. Again, everything is in depth on the Cobbler Masterclass on my website, teriedmonds.com. You just scroll down the front page and it's right there on the front, a free masterclass, okay? And it was done at my home so that I could demonstrate to you that these projects can all be done in your workshop. You do not have to be an experienced person to do this. So anyway, thank you so much. My shoe store is called If the Shoe Fits. I'm in Maui, Hawaii, and I am so glad you joined me. Again, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me here on Amazon. It's really great. I meet here every Thursday, pretty much. And before I sign off, Mom, hello, thanks for joining me. And you guys, thanks so much for joining. I do read your comments, and thanks for being here with me today. Aloha.